Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week of the Greg Cherry live stream here on the NoDQ.com channel. What up, everybody? I can see we're all excited to be here. And again, I do have a announcement to make on later in the stream. I'll wait till there are more people here to do it. I'm not going to announce it right at the top and be like, oh, what was your announcement? I missed it. It's like, well, then be here on time. No, I'm going to wait a little bit to make that announcement, but I'm also going to wait a little bit to make the announcement of I have another giveaway if we hit $100 today. And I'll let you know what that is. But, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? I see 5 people in here, but nobody's saying anything. I don't know if that's me or if that's... I don't know. But to those people, welcome. Got quite a few things to talk about as far as wrestling goes. The build to Summerslam is just beginning. And really, anything else you want to talk about. If you want to talk about Impact, we can talk about Impact. You want to talk about AEW, we can talk about AEW. You want to talk about football, you want to talk about video games, you want to talk about game shows, you want to talk about really anything you guys want to talk about. It's up to you. Matt Helms says, hello, Greg. Curtis Butler says, the Cherry Bomb Show. Yes, I did ask for naming this stream, but the announcement later on will probably make a little bit more sense. But yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, and if you don't, why don't you? At Greg Cherry Brand, you would see that I made a tweet today that said I had an announcement in regards to. I didn't really say what it was in regards to. But if you don't follow me on Twitter at Greg Cherry Brand. For all my hilarity, for all my tweets and opinions, and to get me on Quizzlemania. Because that's still the goal. Hashtag Cherry for Quizzlemania. The reigning NoDQ.com Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion. The King of the Marks for the Mark World Order. And possibly soon to be Talkamania Trivomania champion. If I have anything to say about it. Which I will. Coming later this month. But until then, what's up, Adrian? How you doing? Until then, we'll get on with the stream. Maybe around like 4 o'clock Eastern, so in about an hour or so. Once we get more people into the stream. And if you've never seen the stream before, or if you know somebody who hasn't seen the stream before, be like, hey, check out this guy. He doesn't just talk about wrestling. He does other stuff. Then invite them in. Let me in. SN1281, already getting into the football talk, so here we go. See any of the NFL top 100 players. Thoughts on Lamar number 1 ahead of Patrick Mahomes? Yeah, Mahomes was 4. I didn't even see who 2 and 3 were, but I saw Mahomes was 4. And Ben not listed at all. It's a regular season player vote from what I gathered. Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger was not going to be in the top 100. He played a game and a half last year. The player rankings are based on the 2019 season. Ben was not going to be on there whatsoever. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Mahomes being 4th after breaking the Madden curse and winning the Super Bowl ahead, or behind rather, Lamar Jackson, who fell in his first playoff match against the Titans. He's number 1? You might want to reevaluate your standards there, NFL list makers. I don't understand that. Sure, Lamar had a great statistical season, but he didn't go anywhere in the playoffs. The Chiefs did because they won. Now, I'm not saying you put strictly Super Bowl players above every other team just because of how far they made it. But it's questionable putting Mahomes at 4. You're saying there were 3 players better than him? I'd like to know who 2 and 3 were, but... Lamar's first playoff game was against the Chargers. I thought it was against the Titans. Because I thought the Ravens got a playoff bye and they faced the Titans and they lost. I know the Patriots lost to the Titans. I thought the Ravens did. Either way, the Ravens didn't go far. I guess I meant Lamar's first playoff game, like this postseason, like the last postseason. Regardless, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Adrian says he's no Aaron Hernandez. Damn. That's all I have to say to that. But yeah, it looks like there's very interesting things going on in football right now. I mean, people are already talking about having baseball being canceled because of all the COVID tests. It's like, what more can they do to like separate themselves? It's like, are they like celebrating and like making out with each other? I mean, it's not like freaking mono. Like, what are you doing? Baseball players are typically relatively far away from each other to begin with. How can you have these spiking COVID tests? Either there's negligence or there's just a widespread fear. And I talked about this last week. If this is a strain, if this is like a strain of the flu, for example, that's just around now, is this how we're going to live the rest of our lives in fear that, oh my gosh, we're going to get COVID? Or are we just going to live our lives be like, okay, if we get this, we'll treat it. But if we don't get it, then I understand, and people might think I'm ignorant. Be like, oh, you have to protect other people's health. I understand that. I understand you have to like protect other people's health. I get that. I'm not saying that you should go out there and cough on people. Like you should intentionally try and get it. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm saying that living in fear is no way to live. Deal with problems as they come. Don't try and prevent problems that may never happen. Everybody's thinking worst case scenario. Everybody's thinking like as soon as they have any human contact whatsoever, that they'll get COVID. It's like if that was the thought process, the human race would cease to exist. Like within 100 years, there would be no humans left. If that's the way we're living life from now on, that's what's going to happen. It's like, oh, we have a spike in COVID cases. It's like, well, then take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be hygienic, for crying out loud. Take a shower. I need to take one after this podcast, but I'm not doing this podcast in front of anybody. At least not live in front of everybody. In the same room, I mean. I'm doing the podcast live, and it's not happening in front of people physically. Curtis Butler says they were voted by their peers. Check them for CTE already, yeah. Well, Florida is just a weird state to begin with, so. And Curtis Butler says, blame the Marlins. Hate typing that knowing Mattingly is the manager. Well, on the plus side, at least I was looking at the records yesterday, the Yankees are the best team in baseball. Like 6 games in, but still. It counts for something, right? They only have that one loss. But I'll take it. Can we just award the 2020 season to the Yankees? Can we just do that? 28-time champs? 6 games in? That's how this works, right? Speaking of, Jermaine Presley. Hi, Greg. Do you believe Major League Baseball will be canceled this season, and do you believe football will follow suit? I'm not sure about baseball. I know it's cause for concern with all the COVID cases, but maybe they'll make all the players wear masks while they're out on the field. Maybe that'll help. Or they'll make the NFL players wear face shields. It's like, okay, well, you can play, but just don't get anybody sick. If football gets canceled, I'll be very upset. I'm probably going to have to get my tickets refunded for the Notre Dame Pitt game because I doubt they'll have any fans in attendance. TJS with a $10 super chat. Spin the wheel, make the deal, Jack. I'm ready for you to defend the title against non-jobbers. I miss the competitive matches. Maybe we need handicap matches. Name every Royal Rumble winner from 1990 to 2000. All right. 90, Hogan. 91, Hogan. 92, Flair. 93, Yokozuna. 94, Lex Luger and Bret Hart. 95, 96, Shawn Michaels. 97, 98, Stone Cold Steve Austin. 99, Vince McMahon. 2000, The Rock. That was hard. We don't need handicap matches. And yes, the next episode Wrestling Trivia Challenge goes up this Friday. What we need is people who want to be on the show and actually know something about wrestling. I can't control that. And maybe it's possible that the questions that hit them are knowledge gaps for them. It's very possible. But I don't really know. I don't control the questions. That is a Jeff and a Stat Boy and whoever else sends them questions thing. I have no say over them, obviously. Because I don't want those cheap victories just to get to a 1,000-day reign. I want to earn it. There's no pride in saying, "Oh yeah, I got to 1,000 days. Did you cheat?" Well, of course, yeah, I cheated. Well, then that invalidates the entire reign if I were to do that. So no, if they want to give me a challenger and they beat me before I hit my 1,000 days, then that's what happens. But until then, I'm fighting to get my 1,000 days, and then we'll go from there. December 4th. That is my 1,000th day as champion if I continue to retain. And the match against Virtue on Black Friday will probably air on this channel. If we get that far. It's still 3 months away. But, anyway. Since TJS donated, I want to make another spreadsheet here. Because I am going to be giving away, should we reach the $100 limit, a t-shirt based on my game show Luck of the Draw. Here it is. In all its glory. Now it's really, really bright. But yeah, if we reach $100 in donations, then somebody's going to get this. It's an extra large. It's green. Never been worn before. Actually, I just took it out of the package because I got an extra one. TJS says, do I get a spin for $9.99? No, of course not. Yeah, you get it. It's 1 penny off of $10. So yeah, you do. I just have to put you in the spreadsheet and then we'll get the wheel spin done. All right. Got your spin in, got the donation tracker going. If we hit $100 donated, I will give away that shirt to one of the super chatters. But here we go, TJS, with your spin. Karaoke. All right. I've been hitting that a lot lately, so good thing What's up, Cody Fosterling? How you doing? Good thing I just added a couple songs today to the playlist I haven't done before. TJS says, I'm begging Quizzlemania to take you. So am I. I've super chatted a couple times. I think I need people other than me to super chat in regards to me getting on Quizzlemania. If you don't know what Quizzlemania is, it's something that the Wrestle Talk boys do over on their YouTube channel, Parts Fun Known. It's a game they play, and essentially it's similar to wrestling. It's not completely wrestling trivia per se, but there is wrestling trivia involved. And I have been trying to get on that show since Quizzlemania 3. This past one was Quizzlemania 15. And like I said, if you watch those shows, if you watch them live, they air Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. So that'd be 9 p.m. for those folks in Western Europe. If you want to watch those and donate like $5 and get Greg Cherry on Quizzlemania, and it's not me, then maybe there will be a little bit of a following, you know. I don't know. I've been trying the last couple weeks. We'll see how that goes. But I will be singing a different song. Let me see. I just put on my karaoke songs list the Breaking Benjamin song Dear Agony, which is actually my wife's favorite Breaking Benjamin song. So I figured, why not sing that one? So here we go, karaoke song. I'll check super chats and all that after I'm done singing, and catch up with the chat as well. But for now, here we go, Breaking Benjamin. Hopefully I can do this song justice. I have nothing left to give. I have found the perfect end. You were made to make it hurt. Disappear into the dirt. Carry me to heaven's arms. Light the way and let me go. Take the time to take my breath. I will end where I began. And I will find the enemy within. Higher than I thought. 'Cause I can feel it crawl beneath my skin. Dear agony, just let go of me. Suffer slowly. Is this the way it's gotta be? Dear agony. Yeah, that is definitely way higher than I thought. Suddenly the lights go out. Let forever drag me down. I will fight for one last breath. I will fight until the end. And I will find the enemy within. 'Cause I can feel it crawl beneath my skin. Dear agony, just let go of me. Suffer slowly. Is this the way it's gotta be? Don't bury me. Lost my breath. I'm so sorry. Is this the way it's gotta be? Dear agony, leave me alone. God, let me go. On blue and cold, black sky will burn. Love, pull me down. Right, lift me up. Just turn around. There's nothing left. Somewhere far beyond this world, I feel nothing anymore. Dear agony, just let go of me. Suffer slowly. Is this the way it's gotta be? Don't bury me, faceless enemy. I'm so sorry. Is this the way it's gotta be? Dear agony, I feel nothing anymore. Way higher than I thought it was when I first started when I was practicing beforehand. Oh my. It's kind of rough with my voice. Yeah, so I try to find songs, and I need to do a better job of it, trying to find songs that I can actually like be in the range for. Stone Sour's way better for that than Breaking Benjamin, I'm finding out. But anyway. Curtis Butler says, some WT shows are challenging shows and some are akin to beating trolls to death. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the week, the opponent, and the questions. I believe that all the people on the shows have watched wrestling before. It's just that they are not as quick with recall as I am. And if you don't have great recall, you're not going to come up with the answers in 10 seconds. You might be able to come up with a guess, but it's a lot of pressure. Jermaine Presley says, hey Greg, are you enjoying the Sasha versus Asuka rivalry, and do you see it becoming a blood feud between Sasha and Bayley versus Asuka and Io? I don't necessarily see the crossover with Asuka and Io Shirai, because at that point, do you have Sasha or Bayley become NXT Women's Champion? Or do you put them in a triple threat and make Bayley and Sasha both beat Io Shirai? Then Sasha and Bayley literally have all the championship gold they can win. I mean, I guess they could go for like the Intercontinental or the United States or the World or the WWE or the Universal, or the regular tag team. I don't know. I don't see the need for Io Shirai to be involved in it, because Io's doing her own thing on NXT. And I'm looking forward to the Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai championship match when it does happen. I'm thinking TakeOver if they haven't announced it already, but that should be a good one. SN1281, you getting Talking Shop-A-Mania tonight? I'm probably not. I don't really spend money on pay-per-views or whatever this is very often. I don't really know a whole lot about it, to be honest. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it being discussed. I just haven't looked into it. But I'm going to be out of the house tonight anyway, so I'm not even going to have the opportunity to watch it. So the answer to that is probably not. Cody Fosterling says you should do a live stream with JD from New York 206. No. I doubt that he would even have me on his show. And besides that, he would try and talk over me. No, if he's not going to respect my opinions on wrestling and the fact that I know what I'm talking about, it's not worth it. I don't even care if it is more exposure. It's just not worth it for him to be a complete, you know what, because that's his reputation. It's what he does. It's like that history maker DJS guy on Twitter. He's like JD, but not as much followers. Top 5 favorite SummerSlam main events. SummerSlam main events. Clearly, the one I was at, Diesel versus Mabel from SummerSlam 95. No. Top 5 SummerSlam main events. Brett and Taker from SummerSlam 97 was a solid main event and had great story to it the entire way through. 2000 was a great main event, even though Kurt Angle got knocked loopy. 2002 was a great main. 2002 was the best SummerSlam they've ever done. Let's be honest. Capped off by a great WWE Championship match between Brock Lesnar and The Rock. 2004 was an absolutely fantastic main event that nobody talks about anymore. Adrian with the €10 super chat. Greg, who could have achieved more if it wasn't for their untimely demise? Gino Hernandez or Magnum TA? I've always believed that Magnum TA, had he not had his accident, would have been a Hulk Hogan level superstar. A Hulk Hogan or a Ric Flair level superstar. I mean, that's where he was being built to. He was going to be an absolute megastar in the wrestling business. And it's a shame that his career was cut short. Because, man, can you imagine Magnum TA in, like, either, like, early 90s WWF or, like, mid-90s WCW as a top guy? Game changer. Absolute game changer for the wrestling industry as a whole. But, Adrian, you submitted yours. So, let's get you in here. And let's get you a spin, shall we? Entrance. I feel bad anymore having the bankrupt up there. It's like, man, I gotta give you something. Because I think Aaron is right. I think like you guys donating $10 and getting nothing is like, that's kind of crap. So I just move it to an entrance. So Adrian, choose an entrance, whatever one you want. Well, imagine, Adrian, if Magnum TA would have been there after Hogan had left. Like after Hogan had left for WCW. Imagine if Magnum TA was towing the company line for WWE. Would Bret Hart have become as popular as he was? Granted, he was already WWF champion by that point, by the time Hogan left. Would Shawn Michaels have reached that main event status? There's so many questions. It's like, okay, if you had Magnum TA on your roster, how would that have affected wrestling in general? Like, would some of the most legendary superstars in wrestling have made it to that level? if they had to contend with Magnum TA as well. Chris Benoit entrance. Okay. I can do that. Alexa, make Man Cave blue. Because I'm pretty sure his entrance had the blue lighting. So here we go. Probably should. Alexa, make Man Cave gray. See, there's not a whole lot to the Benoit entrance. It's just him walking around, raising his arms, shaking out his arms, getting ready, and cracking his neck. That's Benoit's entrance in a nutshell. SN1281 says, didn't do the passionate Benoit throat slash. That wasn't a part of his entrance, though. The Benoit throat slash was before he did the headbutt, so right before he goes up to the headbutt, he does this. Like that. It's not like I have like a wrestling dummy that I can perform moves on. Although that might make for a very interesting stream if I had that. Yeah, it might make for a very interesting stream if I have A, the space, and B, the wrestling dummy to perform the moves on. Have to prop it up for moves like the spear, though. Mike Gonzalez said, since HBK is Mr. WrestleMania, then who is Mr. SummerSlam? Bret Hart or Randy Orton, maybe? Mr. SummerSlam. Randy Orton's a good selection. I'm trying to think of somebody who's always put on the best SummerSlam matches. And you might be able to argue, and some people might be upset with it, you might be able to argue Brock Lesnar. You really might be able to argue that. Because Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, I'd say his matches might be better there than at Mania. Because I feel like his SummerSlam matches are actual wrestling. I mean, look at the last few years. Seth was an actual match. Roman wasn't necessarily in 2018. The Fatal 4-Way was a good match. 2016 against Orton, he made him bleed. 2015 against Undertaker. 2014 against Cena. I mean, that one was brutal. 2013 against Punk. Everybody loves that match. 2012 against Triple H. 2003 against Kurt Angle. Amazing. 2002 against The Rock. I mean, Brock Lesnar, I don't think has had a bad SummerSlam match. So I might give the Mr. SummerSlam to Brock Lesnar. Y2 Woody, who's Mr. December to Dismember? Mike Knox. That's who it is. Yeah, Brock versus Angle was really good at SummerSlam. I mean, it was great at WrestleMania, but seeing a heel Brock against a face Angle and that dynamic, it was a great match. Brock and Angle always had great matches against each other. But that one in particular was a good one. So yeah, Mr. SummerSlam is Brock Lesnar. If you guys think of somebody who can take that crown from him, name him. But I don't know if you can. You might say Bret Hart. You might say Randy Orton. You might say, I don't know, Triple H even. Although Triple H has not had some... Triple H is involved in one of the greatest SummerSlam matches of all time against Shawn Michaels in 2002. But then he also had a match against Eugene in 2004. And it's like, It was okay, but not a Triple H quality match, if we're going to be honest. Brett and Hogan, quality over quantity. Are you going to really say that Hogan's match against, like, Zeus and Savage is better than any Brock Lesnar SummerSlam match? Hogan's first SummerSlam match was a tag match. His second SummerSlam match was a tag match. What did he even do in 90? Was he against Earthquake that show? No. Who did he wrestle at SummerSlam 90? I can't, I just blanked. Yeah, I wouldn't put Hogan as Mr. SummerSlam by any stretch of the imagination. His last two matches at SummerSlam were against Shawn and against Randy. And his one against Randy was like third on the card. It's like, you're putting Hogan third on the card? Okay. And he went over. So, yeah. Did you watch SmackDown last night? I caught some of it, Curtis. Like I said, I typically... Sorry about that. I typically catch some of the stuff online. Like I follow along with the show online, see what's going on. And I saw the end segment with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. It's going to be a very interesting SummerSlam match between The Fiend and Braun. Because you remember... Little bit of recall, Team Little Big from the Mixed Match Challenge, Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman had a little bit of a thing going. They never capitalized it outside of Mixed Match Challenge until the Swamp Fight, really. But now it looks like Alexa's going to be part of the storyline, so that's pretty cool. Let's be honest, it's pretty cool that she's transitioning from the whole being Nikki Cross's best friend thing to a main event storyline. That's pretty cool. Okay, it was Earthquake at 90. Okay. I was thinking 91, but Hogan was in a tag match at 91, too. And I don't think he wrestled at SummerSlam 90. I don't think he wrestled at 92. Because Savage and Warrior was the WWF title match, and then the main event was Bulldog and Brett. So I don't think Hogan was on that show at all. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember him being there. Y2 Woody says, beer game strong, Sherry, and the fade, mate. Good stuff. Well, thank you. I like the fade. I really do. I think it's a good hairstyle for me. And plus, I've been growing this beard for about a month and a half, so. Once I feel it start ripping out of my chin is when I start to shave it. Right now, when it's not bothering me, it's fine. But once it starts pulling, I know I have to shave. I didn't think Hogan wrestled at 92 because he did the whole quote-unquote last match thing with Sid at WrestleMania 8. And then came back in 93 to have that tag match at WrestleMania 9 and then somehow win the WWF Championship. Before he left for WCW after King of the Ring. I remember Piper did make an appearance because he was playing the bagpipes. Like that's a very classic shot from that SummerSlam. Well, thank you, Curtis. I'm glad it looks good. Adrian says if I get to $100 in donations, he's going to wax his white, hairy Irish ass. So, in addition to giving away a T-shirt, if we get to $100 in donations, Adrian's going to wax his white, hairy Irish ass. So there you go. Send in those donations. Let's get some more wheel spins. Let's get some more entrances and more songs and more dances. So Adrian can wax his ass. There you go. Goals. Yeah, Shorty G, Y2 Woody, Shorty G just did turn heel last night. Aligning, ironically enough, with the man who started the whole Shorty G thing. Or Shorty Gable. King Corbin. I hope he goes back to being Chad Gable, but maybe he'll keep the Shorty G thing just to piss everybody off. I don't know. But it's nice to see Gable as a heel, because I think he can do some great things. He's got the athletic ability, like that's not a question. Now we're going to see if he has that heel personality. Because if you remember him with American Alpha, he was always kind of a goof. And I mean that in the most loving way possible. Like, he was a goof like Kurt Angle was a goof. He could be funny and, like, sarcastic and stuff like that. I love that. But he never really got the chance to show that. Now, hopefully, we get to see a little bit more of his personality. Mike Gonzalez says, asking my least favorite SummerSlam main events. I think Diesel and Mabel actually would make that list. That match was a 1, maybe 2 match show. The ladder match and possibly the 1-2-3 Kid and Hakushi. Other than that, very forgettable SummerSlam. As far as other SummerSlam main events go, Taker versus Taker was just weird. It wasn't a technical classic by any sort of stretch of imagination. SummerSlam 93 main events. SummerSlam 93 main event was Luger and Yokozuna, where Luger won by countout and celebrated like he just won an entire world war by himself. Meanwhile, he didn't win the WWF Championship. Whoopsie. Not that big a deal when you win the match by countout. A countout finish for a main event of a pay-per-view? Really? So weak. Mike Gonzalez says he will probably be called Prince Gable or something like that if they change his name. That would be okay. Prince Gable. Then maybe Gable and Corbin can become tag team champions. Even though Cesaro and Nakamura are the tag team champions right now, and they don't really have any babyface teams to face, I guess. I don't know. Tag team division's weird. Didn't wrestlers threaten to leave if Luger won the title? I don't recall that. I don't think I ever heard that story. Adrian says Court Jester Gable. It may just be like an APA type thing with Gable where he just accepted money. It's like, hey, I want the money if I can beat up this guy. It might not be like a full-blown alliance. But again, that we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, Chad Gable is definitely a very underutilized talent, but maybe the heel turn will help him. Sometimes personality changes help a wrestler's character and gives them a chance to grow because it's like, he wasn't doing anything with the whole Shorty G thing. So, in fact, I think it was a big hindrance. All right, so still looking to get to the $100 to give away the Luck at the Draw T-shirts. If you're just joining us, we reach $100 in donations. I'm sending this bad boy out right here. The Luck at the Draw T-shirt, extra large, and it's in green. I'll probably wash it before I send it to you because this is like brand new out of the package. But either way. Did you like the Elimination Chamber from SummerSlam 2003? I thought it was good. The first couple Elimination Chamber matches were entertaining. The Survivor Series one was incredibly great. SummerSlam one was okay. It was a very interesting way to go about the finish. Especially keeping the title on Triple H for another month when he was hurt. But hey. Alright, so. I'm going to plug my social media as always. I'm going to plug a YouTube show and my t-shirt store because that's just what I do. YouTube.com/Greg Cherrybrand for the latest episodes of Wrestling Trivia Challenge. New one going up this Friday. Buy a shirt, teespring.com/stores/Greg Cherrybrand. We're going to have some new merchandise up there. Probably within the month. And that goes hand in hand with my announcement, which I will make the announcement at the top of the hour. And of course, Instagram and Twitter at Greg Cherrybrand. Follow me. Let's get me on Quizzlemania. If I don't make it till after I become Talkamania Trivia Mania champion, then Ultimo Gregan will be a thing once I go to Quizzlemania. That's the goal. To become Quizzlemania champion, even just once. To become part of that lore. And if I become a hated heel on Quizzlemania, like one Sean Ross Sapp, Mr. 3-time Quizzlemania champion, then so be it. I will steer into that skid. If I am the most hated wrestling trivia mind of all time, fine. But I'm the best. I am the best. Period end. Heck, I even have a shirt that says that. Go buy it. And of course, if you don't want to use the YouTube Super Chats, you can always send a Streamlabs tip. Streamlabs.com/luckofthedraw1. And then you'll get the fancy graphic on screen that says you donated. And it'll be up there as long as the show lasts. So go check that out. So yeah, Chad Gable, as far as I'm concerned, the heel turn is needed. He needs to find... Cut that heel promo, Cherry. Oh, I can do it. I can cut that promo. Promo time is right here on the wheel. If you want to get me to spin. And then I'll cut that heel promo on all those Quizlemania fools. Be like, hey, I'm the greatest wrestling trivia mind of all time. Where's my shot? I'm getting that clout one way or the other. I'm getting that Quizlemania clout. I will be on that show. The Greg Cherry brand will take off from there. Because I'm going to be funny. I'm going to be charismatic. I'm going to be that smartass that you guys know me to be. And if I lose, I lose. Because let's be honest, it's not a straight up wrestling trivia competition. If it was, I'd be on there forever. But since it's not, since it's like a whole bunch of other stuff that's not, it's wrestling related, but not exactly wrestling trivia. If I lose, I lose, but at least I get on. That's the way I'm looking at it. The Talkamania Trivomania Championship is wrestling trivia, and that one I'm looking forward to taking that championship. So if you follow them, I believe it's... Let me look here. I don't know if it's at _ Talkamania or if it's just Talkamania. No, it's at _ Talkamania. That's what I thought. At _ Talkamania. So if you listen to Quizlemania 4, which was a show I was in the chat for, and I was answering questions left and right, I think the champion, Rucker, was getting annoyed, but let me tell you something. If you question my abilities as a wrestling trivia master, and then you have me on the show, oh boy. It's something you don't want to do, is question my ability to do something that I tell you I'm the best in the world at. Because rest assured, you won't be champion for long, Rucker. And I'm telling you this right now. You might not be watching. It's fine. But when it comes down to it, come Talkamania 5 at the end of the month, start counting down the days of your championship reign, buddy. Because they're numbered. SM1281 is asking, is Jason Jordan still a producer or whatever? Yes, he is still a producer. He was actually... If you remember the episode of SmackDown that started off with the whole Jeff Hardy getting arrested thing, Jason Jordan was in that shot, so he is still a producer. He still works there. And you know what? That would be cool if Jason Jordan was like an untouchable manager for Chad Gable. Bring that American Alpha combination back, but make them heels. It could do very well for them. All right, I know it's Saturday. I was hoping there would be a couple more people in here for this, but it's almost 4 o'clock. But I think you guys are ready for my big announcement. Now, correct me if I'm wrong if you're interested, but you guys are consistent watchers of these streams. You like listening to my opinions on stuff, so If you'd like to know what my announcement is, I can tell you. But if you'd rather wait and follow me on Twitter for it, so be it. But I'd much rather tell you now, because you guys have supported me through this stream the entire way through. Chris Butler says, name your 10 worst wrestlers. As far as what? As far as promos? As far as actual in-ring ability? What are we going off of? Or some combination? Because Eva Marie will make that list somewhere. She might be good looking, but she was god-awful in the ring. But yeah, I'm not sure who the other people on that list would be, but Eva Marie would definitely be up there. And maybe the original Sin Cara. There was just nothing redeemable there. All right. So, you guys have been watching my live streams for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, somewhere around there, obviously with some breaks in between. I would like to announce today that next weekend will be my last solo live stream here on the No DQ channel. And I have not told anybody this, but I mean, I love doing the streams on here, but there is a reason that I'm not going to be focused as much on doing these streams every single weekend. So next week, as I said, will be my last solo live stream on the No DQ YouTube channel. So let's make it a good one. And yes, that's still a couple weeks before SummerSlam, but August is a crazy month and I got a lot going on. And I feel like my focus should be led elsewhere. As much as I love doing these live streams for you guys, I feel the need to move on to another project. So that being said, while the live streams here will be done next week, starting, what's today? Today's the 1st, 2nd, 9th, 6th, 20th. Starting August 24th. Over on the Greg Cherry Brand channel. 5 days a week. Live every single day. Until I get a job. Live every single day. The Greg Cherry Show. It will be a discussion show, not just of wrestling, but of stuff going on in the world in general, stuff going on with sports, all of that. I will be taking everything I do here, hopefully with a far more professional setup than this is. But I will be doing my own show and hopefully getting a broader audience, because I know you guys watch for wrestling, and there will be a little bit of wrestling talk there, but it won't be completely wrestling talk, and I don't want it to be. I would like to involve more people than just my wrestling clique, as it were. So in about 3 weeks, I will be debuting the Greg Cherry Show over on the Greg Cherry Brand. So while you enjoy these live streams and whatnot, go subscribe to the Greg Cherry Brand channel, where Wrestling Trivia Challenge already is, but then you will get me 5 days a week for probably about 90 minutes a day. I don't know if I'll have as much chat interaction as I normally do, because I want it to be more of an entertainment show, more like how a radio show is broadcast. So my streams and whatnot will go on podcast networks and all of that stuff. And hopefully be a beacon of entertainment and fun that we might not otherwise have. So I'm really hoping that you guys go subscribe to the channel. I hope you enjoy the show, and then you tell more people about it. Be like, hey, listen to this guy. He's got some great opinions on a lot of things. Because I've realized throughout the course of my life, I let a lot of people do the talking for me. So I figured this is the way that, like, hey, I have opinions too. I believe my opinions are valid. So I'm going to tell you what my opinions are, and then you'll know. And I actually might have a little bit more wisdom than a lot of people think. I'm not just a wrestling nerd. I'm not a one-dimensional person. I know quite a bit about quite a few things. I just hope I can be entertaining along the way and not just like a talking head or like listening to a regular podcast or whatever. And I want it to be a good show. I want to bring on guests. I want to bring on multiple different people that I think could contribute well to the evolution of the channel. So that being said, next week will be my swan song as far as solo streams go on this channel, but the Greg Cherry Show will rise from those ashes and be on the Greg Cherry brand. So I hope you guys can join me for that. James Malaspino, Boston Punk. If you need a logo or graphics for the new show, let me know. I got you, my man. I appreciate that. I can always use some. I could always use some graphics because I am not a great graphic designer. I know I have a bunch of shirts on the Teespring store that I did design myself, but as far as like professional looking things, I know I could have way better looking things. So I appreciate that, James. Big Baller G says, if you need a co-host, I'm down. I'll definitely bring you on, G, and we'll talk, especially once football season starts. We can do like a Steelers corner or something, or like talk about weekend sports. That'll probably be a Tuesday thing, just because of Monday Night Football, covering the weekend football and whatnot. But yeah, I'm down for inviting people to do different skits. Now this will air. I'm not sure exactly what time of the day it'll air. Probably about 1 o'clock to 2:30 Eastern. So it's a weird time slot, I know, and a lot of people might not be able to listen to it other than on the podcast networks, which I will figure out by the time we get there. But as far as live shows, it'll be available on the YouTube channel after the fact. You can check it out, and we'll go from there. But hopefully you guys enjoy all of that. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the streams as I've been doing them. And next week, let's just have a big-ass blowout. Let's have one big live stream to, like, kick every other live stream's ass. Go big or go home. James says, that's why I do it for a living, so I got you. Well, perfect. That works out great. Yeah, Curtis, those are working hours, but I don't work right now. So, like I said, once I put the audio on the podcast networks, then it can be something you listen to either at work or later in the day or watch on the YouTube channel on demand. It's not going to be like it's only live and then you can't do anything about it. If I can figure out how to go live on like some radio stations or whatnot, then I'll do that also. But as far as I'm concerned, the YouTube channel will be a great place to start and hopefully grow from there. Ray Thing, I heard a rumor that the new Nation of Domination stable was scrapped because of Titus O'Neil. Titus was uncomfortable with this in the times with the Black Lives Matter. Well, I mean, the Hurt, I almost said the Hurt Locker, but the Hurt business was, I guess, supposed to be like the new Nation. But, I mean, just because it's 3 black men right now in a stable doesn't mean it's the new Nation. We started that stuff with the New Day, too. It's like, let what was in the past be in the past. Let this be something new. Just because you got 3 black men in a stable doesn't mean it's the Nation. Hell, the original Nation wasn't even 3 black men. It was Farouk, it was Crush, who was white, and Savio Vega, who was Puerto Rican. I mean, I understand when you're looking at, like, maybe when I was with D-Lo and Godfather, and even that nation had Owen Hart. So come on, guys. Nathan Banks, have you heard what's been going on in Major League Baseball? They may have to shut down the season since players are testing positive. Well, I think it's useless to shut down the season. It's like you waited so long to be ready to start the season. It's like now you're going to shut it down again. It's like you guys aren't even going to have jobs here unless you do something this season. I brought this up at the top of the show. Is everybody just going to live in fear of this virus? If it is something that is here and that won't be going away anytime soon, are we just going to live the rest of our lives in fear of catching COVID? It is a sickness. COVID is not something that's going to come to your house, show up and say, "Hi, I'm COVID," and then kill shot you right in the head. I'm not saying it's not bad. But if you get it, then treat it afterwards. I understand the prevention of preventable measures. But there's only so much you can do. And even then, you might not be able to stop it. So you either do what you're doing, or you just live in a bubble for the rest of your life. Pick one. I'm not going to live in fear of this thing. If I get it, I get it. We'll treat it. And if it's untreatable, if I can't figure it out, then it's my time to go. Not happy about it. There's still a lot of stuff I want to do with my life, but hey. And maybe that's the wrong attitude to have. It's like, oh, you should be worried about this because politicians can kiss my ass. Every single one of them. Stirring up fear so you vote them in. Let's see how big a deal COVID is in January of 2021. After the election. I know it's a global pandemic, but let's see how much it's talked about in January of 2021. Curtis says having a nation of domination would be tone deaf right now. Ask a black guy. Me. Well, I mean, especially if they were treated as heels, it would not work. The nation of domination in today's society would not work. It just wouldn't. The New Day, doing what they're doing, works. And they have been arguably one of the most successful stables in professional wrestling history. Let the Hurt Business do their thing. I'm glad Shelton Benjamin is on TV again and getting opportunities. I am so glad for that. Because I said 16 years ago, Shelton Benjamin should have been WWE or World Champion. So the fact that he's been there for the last 2 years and hasn't done a damn thing, but he's finally now doing something, it's about time. Why did you sign him back if you're not going to do anything with him? Shelton Benjamin is too damn talented to let sit on the sidelines. It's so frustrating to me. I said that if Shelton Benjamin was able to cut good promos, he'd be world champion. Well, now MVP can cut his promos for him, so give him the world championship. Build him up to that point. Don't let the focus be Lashley. Let Lashley fight Brock. Let Shelton get built up to the point where he becomes United States champion again. And then he eventually challenges like Drew McIntyre if he's still champion. It might be Orton after SummerSlam, but if Drew were still champion, let Shelton challenge Drew for the title. Give him a competitive match. And maybe if you're feeling froggy, let him win. I'd be down for a Shelton Benjamin title run. I would be. Right thing. Should Daniel Bryan grow his hair and beard long again? No. What's the point? He's still doing the yes thing. His hair and his beard weren't his gimmick. The whole yes thing happened when he had very short hair anyway. So, why does Vince McMahon hate Batista? I don't know. Batista is a very outspoken individual, though. Mike Gonzalez, Team Angle is an underrated group. They absolutely were. It's a shame that Charlie Haas, as talented as he was in the ring, wasn't able to get anywhere with any gimmick. I was hoping with his doing parodies of other wrestlers gimmick, I love that for Charlie Haas. I was hoping he would, like, at the very most, get an Intercontinental Championship shot. Never happened, but it would have been cool. Is Bray Wyatt a part-timer? I don't know if I'd call him a part-timer, but there's a reason he doesn't wrestle often, and it's the character needs to be protected as much as it can. What he did with Alexa was a very cool way to, like, make the Fiend terrifying again. That it doesn't matter who it is, he's going to go after them. And I can't wait to see what Braun does next week on SmackDown. That is one of the things that they needed. They needed a good cliffhanger ending. And that, right there, I've said it the last few streams. WWE needs to do good cliffhanger endings again. That was a good cliffhanger ending. It's like, what's Braun going to do next? It's like, there's actual intrigue there. We want to see it because the Fiend attacked Alexa Bliss. Which in this day and age is not a very common thing. So it's actually a big deal. If this was the Attitude Era, would it have been treated as a big deal? Maybe a little bit. But since it's 2020 and men don't attack women anymore, it's kind of a big deal. Curtis meant 10 overall worst in general. Okay. That is such a massive list of people I'd have to go through. But maybe I'll introduce like a top 10 segment over on the Greg Cherry show. We'll see. I'm still working on segments that I'm going to do for that show to not take away from everything else I'm doing. SN1281. When Sean Waltman was in his prime, should he have been pushed harder? Maybe not champ, but in the main event picture. Yeah, the fact that X-Pac never even made it to like the Intercontinental level. Like he competed for the Intercontinental Championship, but he didn't win it. He had also competed a couple times for the WWF Championship, but didn't win it. But yeah, I think he could have at least been Intercontinental Champion. Or even when the Alliance stuff was going on, he could have been United States Champion. But they relegated him to the Cruiserweight division, or the European Championship, or the Tag Team Championships. I mean, he never made it to full-blown mid-card status in WWE. Like upper mid-card, I guess I should say. Right Thing says, you still don't have a wiki page on WWE YouTubers Wikia. Do I have to make that, or does somebody else have to make it? Because I'll make it for myself. I don't care. I just need to know if I have to do it or if somebody else does it. Because again, I don't think last week I even knew it was a thing, and I keep forgetting about it. I have so much on my plate that I'm preparing for my luck of the draw game in 2 weeks, and that takes pretty much all my attention. Should Shane McMahon join the greater good to get revenge on Kevin Owens? I just want Shane McMahon back on TV. I don't care what he's doing. I want Shane McMahon back on TV. I would like him to feud with Drew McIntyre and beat him for the WWE Championship. I am standing on that hill wanting Shane McMahon to become WWE Champion. I don't care what anybody else says. I want to see it happen. Do you think Kenny Dykstra was a good leader of the Spirit Squad? Yeah, for the time. I mean, you needed a clear leader. And Kenny was the clear leader. Granted, he obviously wasn't the most successful member of the Spirit Squad. Because clearly, that was Mikey. No, it was obviously Dolph Ziggler. But Kenny was supposed to be the breakout star of the Spirit Squad, and it didn't happen because after he was done with the Spirit Squad, he had zero personality. Like there was nothing appealing about Kenny whatsoever. Like the Spirit Squad thing was the only thing people cared about, and then after that, nobody cared. If you don't have a gimmick or anything that connects with the fans, that's like a drastic character change, it's not going to work. Kenny beating Ric Flair, it didn't work. It's like, sure, it helped Kenny and made him look better as far as match quality goes, but it didn't help him out because he had no personality. Nobody knew what his gimmick was because he was just Kenny. That was it. It's like, what the hell was that? You're just generic wrestler 82. Who cares? Right thing is WWE making a stable with King Corbin, Chad Gable, and Tony Nese. I mean, maybe King Corbin's court could do something like that, even though you already did that with King Booker. But then again, King Corbin's the best king since King Booker, so there you go. Curtis says no Shane at all. We'll disagree on that one. Yeah, we will disagree on that one, Curtis. I've always loved Shane. I always have, and I always will. It's one of those things. Shane McMahon's in my favorite match of all time. And it seems ridiculous to say. It's like, Shane McMahon is in your favorite match of all time? Yes. Yes, he is. Nathan Banks says, I'll take Shane O'Mac over the entire McMahon family, especially Triple H. Yeah, I want Shane to come back. Babyface or heel, I don't care. I would actually prefer him as a heel WWE champion if he were to come back. And there was a rumor somewhere that Shane was going to take the title off of Kofi. And I was here all day for that. I love Kofi Kingston. He's incredibly talented. It's fantastic he was WWE champion. But if anybody was going to take it from him, I wanted it to be Shane. Just because so many people would hate that. I was like, oh my gosh, Shane would get so much heat. And then I want Kevin Owens to beat Shane for the WWE Championship. I had it in my mind that was going to happen. But then they just gave the title to Drew, so whatever. Mike Gonzalez, is Baron Corbin the longest reigning King of the Ring? As far as people who kept the King gimmick that long, let's see. Austin really didn't embrace the whole King of the Ring gimmick. I mean, he was Stone Cold Steve Austin, Austin 316, all that. Triple H didn't keep that King thing for very long. King Bear kept it till he left the company. Curtis says Shane is in 2 of his top 25 matches. I like Shane, but after last year, no more. Well, Shane hasn't been on TV for almost a year. I miss Shane. I always miss Shane when he's off TV for lengthy periods of time. I understand why they did it. Because they wanted more sports-oriented focus as opposed to like goofy storylines and stuff. But in my opinion, I would like to see Shane McMahon back. That's just me, though. MVP, Lashley, Benjamin, Apollo, Titus, Ron Simmons, Devon, and Mark Henry were planned for that stable. That's a lot of people involved in one stable, especially since Titus doesn't really wrestle anymore. Ron Simmons, Devon, and Mark Henry are all retired. It's like, you're going to have 3 retired guys in a stable? Granted, they're all legends, but what's that exactly going to accomplish? That seems like overkill to me. As good as they are. Well, we're still... Adrian, I think your ass is safe as far as getting it shaved. because we still got about a half hour left, and we're still far off from the donations for that and for the shirt. For those just joining us, Adrian said if we reached $100, he would shave his own ass. And I said that I would be giving away a Luck of the Draw t-shirt. That's not $100 a piece for those. It's like the same $100 to be reached. And we're still a little bit off from that. But what year was better for WWE, 2008 or 2009? Well, I don't know if you know this, but the 2008 WWE roster was stacked. That's hard to say. I liked some of the storylines that they had in 2009. 2009 was a very Randy Orton heavy year. 2008 was okay. 2008 had some good moments. 2008 had the classic Shawn Michaels Chris Jericho rivalry. So there's that. 2009, though, had the classic Undertaker and Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania 25. So take that as how you will. And CM Punk turned heel in 2009, so there's that too. I might think that 2009 might edge 2008. Just an opinion. Edge versus Taker in 08, and Jeff Hardy won the title at the end of 08. Yeah, both of those are true. Mark Simpson says, do you live with Aaron Rift? No, we're not even in the same state. Aaron's over in Michigan. I'm in Pennsylvania. So, no, we do not live together. Aaron's been to my house once, but we do not live together. Let me look at something. Do you know Timmy Jarrell from Pro Wrestling Unlimited? Can't say that I do. I don't think I've ever heard that name in my life, so nope. Mark's asking, do you still do streams with him? Well, they moved, I'm pretty sure they moved the No DQ review to Tuesdays, which is my poker night, so I'm not available for those. But I would like to do another stream with Rift, and if I'm able to do more streams for the No DQ channel after this, I can do that. Like I'm not leaving No DQ. Like that's not what the announcement earlier was about. I'm just not going to do these solo streams on the channel anymore after next week. At least not here. Like the Great Cherry Show will happen the night or the day after SummerSlam. I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about the upcoming football season and all that other cool stuff, celebrity news, entertainment news, just no politics. I try and stay away from politics as much as I possibly can because it's so divisive. It's so touchy anymore. Like I remember people used to like argue each other with politics, and it's like, oh, we can still be friends after that. Now it seems like if you disagree with somebody politically, they're like evil incarnate, and it's like, what are you talking about? You are so stubborn with your own position that you cannot see any other possible reason to not do that or see any flaws with your mindset. It's like that is delusion and arrogance combined. I don't want to. No, I don't want to do those. Right Thing's asking, do you know Wrestle Talk, Cultaholic, WrestleMania, and What Culture? Yeah, I'm familiar with all four. I'm still trying to get on Quizlemania, as I mentioned earlier. That is my goal. I want to get on Quizlemania. Even if I lose the episode, which I have confidence in myself that I won't do terribly, but even if I lose, I want to at least put on a good showing for myself and compete for the championship. Curtis, stop bringing up politics. This isn't my Facebook page. I know. I'm sorry for bringing it up, too. I'm just saying I don't like it either. So on the Greg Cherry Show, I won't talk about it. At least that's the goal, not to talk about it. But yeah, I do want to make Quizlemania. So hashtag Cherry for Quizlemania. Send it to Parts Fun Known. Send it to Adam Blampier, to Luke Owen, to Ollie Davis, to all of those guys. Quizlemania. I'm coming for you. I want to be on the show. That's no secret. Was the first half of 2011 before the Summer of Punk week. I thought it was one of the weakest periods of wrestling until 2017 to 2020. Yeah, the first half of 2011 was not great. WrestleMania 27 was a complete flop of a WrestleMania. So when they started doing the Punk stuff and then Punk cut that promo in Las Vegas, that is where 2011, as far in a year of wrestling, really turned around. Because WWE became super hot again. And we needed a moment like that to really gauge that interest. And it shot CM Punk into the stratosphere as far as star level goes. And then the Money in the Bank pay-per-view as a whole was a classic. Money in the Bank 2011 is probably one of the greatest pay-per-views, if not the greatest pay-per-view of the last 10 years as far as WWE goes. I'm echoing. Of course I'm echoing. I always echo, and I don't know why. I need to figure out what that problem is so when the Greg Cherry Show goes live, that is not an issue. Because I really don't understand why I echo just randomly. And it's always around this time, too. It's always around this time of my stream, like an hour and a half in. Always I start to echo, and I don't get it. Mike Gonzalez says, Capital Punishment, I still think to this day was one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen. Yeah, well, nobody in their right mind thought R-Truth was going to beat John Cena for the WWE Championship. Would I have been okay with Truth winning the WWE Championship from Cena? Absolutely. It may have led to a very interesting time period with R-Truth as WWE Champion, but that's not the route they wanted to go. And it led to the Punk Cena match, so we can't really argue with them. But do you know Sean View? No, I don't. I've heard of him, but I'm not familiar with him. Check my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi says I'm good. My Wi-Fi, my stream quality is all good. I don't know. Like I said, it's always around this time. Let me hear. Should Bo Dallas leave WWE? Maybe. They're not doing much of anything with him. And my echoing is not as bad as it was with the other thing. I heard the echo. It's just... It's not as terrible as it typically is. I have to bring this up every single time. Yeah, Bo Dallas is nowhere to be found. Maybe he'll be involved with the Firefly Funhouse to give him something to do. Is Adam Cole the son of Michael Cole? I hope they don't do that on the main roster. I really hope they don't do that. Because if that means Michael Cole starts doing Michael Cole, baby, Adam Cole should talk to him like he talked to Pat McAfee. I felt that 2016 was like 2011. Weak first few months, then the rest of the year was good with KO and Jericho. Kevin Owens and Jericho were a fantastic combination together. It was just Jericho reinventing himself yet again. That's what he does. He reinvents himself, makes himself better. All right. Another opportunity to plug the social media for those watching. Follow me on Twitter, at Greg Cherrybrand. Get me on Quizzlemania. I need all the Twitter followers to get on Quizzlemania. Like 2,000 or something. It's very doable. Just tell your friends and family, hey, go follow this guy if you like talking about wrestling. He'll talk about wrestling with you. Should Evolve replace 205 Live and become the new Develop brand? I don't see what the point of 205 Live is anymore. I really don't. Because 205, the Cruiserweight Championship is on NXT. Why do we have a separate Cruiserweight show? If you compete for the championship in NXT, send all the Cruiserweights to NXT. You don't need a separate show for one division. Just like you don't need a separate show for the women's division. If you have the talent and you give them the time, they will get themselves over. You don't need 205 Live. If you have that many cruiserweights, you have a problem because they're not all going for the Cruiserweight Championship. It's basically the Cruiserweight version of like Superstars or Sunday Night Heat or Velocity or whatever. That's what it is. Do you think Randy Orton will win at SummerSlam since he's on a roll and the WWE is promoting him big? I think Orton will win at SummerSlam. Although Payback is apparently a week after SummerSlam, so maybe they're saving the championship win for then. I don't know. It's a weird thing to run a pay-per-view the week after your second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Makes no sense to me. And why even do it? You have that control since you're running shows out of the Performance Center. You don't have to do that. There's no logistical reason to do that. Did you know that Triple H and Rey Mysterio never had a one-on-one match? That's true, unless you count the 2006 Rumble, when they went one-on-one a couple times during the course of that. But I can believe that because they were never really on the same brand with like Triple H and Rey Mysterio weren't even on the same brand. I was trying to think of the draft shows as like Triple H and Rey both switched shows in 08 and 09. And Triple H and Rey came back to Raw in 2011 and Triple H wasn't a full-time wrestler. So yeah, it makes sense. So what else is going on, guys? I know it's not like a hugely eventful week in wrestling other than the stuff that happened on SmackDown. AEW's doing its thing. It's not a whole lot to talk about. Why in the 2000s, Undertaker was never drafted to Raw and Shawn never drafted to SmackDown? Well, if you remember, Undertaker in 2002 was originally the first draft pick to Raw. And Shawn Michaels wasn't back yet. So, shortly after SummerSlam, The Undertaker got moved to SmackDown, and he stayed there for his entire duration. Shawn Michaels came back to Raw in 2002 and never was drafted to SmackDown. I don't know why Undertaker was never drafted back to Raw. Unless he just wanted to make SmackDown the better show and just be there to elevate that show. Shawn staying on Raw the entire time, I believe, had to do with his attendance of his church services on Wednesdays. I heard that was the reason. I don't know how much truth is behind that, but I feel like that's what it was. He did appear on SmackDown a couple times, whether to attack Kurt Angle or just when the brand split wasn't much of a thing anymore. But that was more towards the tail end of his career than anything. Is 2009 the last year of the Ruthless Aggression era? I put the last year of the Ruthless Aggression era in like 2006, 2007. Probably 2007, because then the PG era started shortly after that. Like, they became a PG show, and because after all the Benoit stuff, you can't really have the Ruthless Aggression era anymore. Mark Simpson is asking if Karrion Kross should be brought up to the main roster. He's really good and his character's badass. He's only been around for a couple months, and he's just now going... I say just now as like he's been there for a year and a half. He's just now getting a title shot. He's getting a title shot for the NXT Championship. I'm guessing at TakeOver 30. There's no reason to bring him up to the main roster this soon. And if he's badass in NXT, why would you want to bring him up to the main roster? People complain as soon as all their favorites are on the main roster. It's like, oh, they're wasting this person, and then it drowns out, and then you don't hear much anymore. Let them be successful where they are. If they start losing their success there, maybe a move to the main roster will help them. But don't take the most successful people out of where they are unless you have a plan. Karrion Kross has barely been there. Like, he's only been there since the pandemic era started. After WrestleMania, like he's only been in NXT for like 2-3 months. Be patient. He's had one takeover match. Don't move him up to the main roster. Takeover is August 22nd, I believe. The night before SummerSlam. I wouldn't say Batista's forgotten by WWE. I mean, crying out loud, he was supposed to go in the Hall of Fame this year. Whether that still happens or not remains to be seen. They might just move all the Hall of Fame class to WrestleMania next year and be like, hey, we're going to do the Hall of Fame via Skype. Of course, it'll be in 2021. There might be fans there, so who knows?
So, it looks like this shirt is lasting another week.
We're still like $80 away from me giving this shirt away to a super chatter. So I don't think we're reaching that
Today. Maybe next week. We will see.
But next week, I really hope we go out with a bang. Because next week, like I said, is my last No DQ solo live stream. So I'm hoping that it's just full of entertainment and songs and dances and entrances that I hope we do well with it. Should MJF and Britt Baker date? Britt Baker's dating Adam Cole, baby. Or are you talking about like in AEW, like as a unit? Either way, I wouldn't put them together as like a dating unit, but they could work together with their heeldom, I guess. Storyline. I mean, maybe as like teaming up together. I don't know what you would call that. A little stable, but put the two of them against Moxley and Swole. That'd be interesting. Of course, Britt Baker being on TV injured is still pretty entertaining. Like I said, I love Britt Baker. She's kicking ass, and you love to see it. Curtis Butler's asking, where's Carmella? Making podcasts with Graves. They might not be needing her for storylines, so they're probably, if she's not needed for like storylines or anything, they're probably keeping them off TV to like keep them safe. I mean, they're not running house shows or anything, so if you're not needed, they'll probably just pay you. They just don't need you that week. That's my guess. All right, so we got. Where's Mojo Rawley? Who cares? Did you know that Corey Graves was an option to be the SmackDown hacker? Did they drop that storyline completely? Like what? There was so much intrigue behind that. I think I brought this up last week. Why would you drop a storyline that people care about and not give an ending? It's the freaking Hummer storyline all over again. They only use Mojo because of Gronk. Yeah, and it was so weird. So weird. All right, guys. I typically go till 5 o'clock, but I got some dinner plans tonight. The wife and I are going out to meet up with some friends, and we're going to go out to dinner. So I appreciate you guys for watching. I know I'm ending a little early, but let's make it a big show next week. Not Paul White, but let's make it a good show for me to go out on and start into the Greg Cherry Show on the Greg Cherry brand. So, if you haven't done it, please go to Twitter at Greg Cherry brand. Follow me there. Go subscribe to the Greg Cherry brand YouTube channel, youtube.com/Greg Cherry brand. I make it very easy for everything to be uniform. And of course, teespring.com/Greg Cherry brand. If you go there now, before August 15th, and order a shirt, you can get 20% off your order when you use the code LOTD20. All capitals, LOTD20. Curtis Butler says he's mentally tapped out today. I think I am too. And that's why I'm ending the show early. But next week, let's do it big. Let's go big or go home next week. Tell your friends and neighbors. Greg Cherry's last live stream. It's going to be a freaking party up in here. Let's do it next week. Tell AA Ron to make me a mod. You done messed up, AA Ron. We'll talk about it. See you guys next week. Let's do it big next week.